an Achilles injury, and he is not with the team. Casey Clausen said last night, we have no big play ability without him. Clock winding down, they get it called. Davis, big hole, and a bigger one. He doesn't have great speed, but he comes right, and he's being chased inside the 20 and is down at the 10.
Carolina ganged up on the line of scrimmage. They played an 8-man front, and when you do that, you take a chance of weakening yourself on the perimeter. Now look at that. All those guys up around the ball. If you get through the first line of defense, which they did, a block by Fleming and a block by Wells, and then Jabari Davis is off to the races. But when you commit that many guys to the line of scrimmage, if you get through that initial line, you got a lot of territory to run. Good blocking on the second level by the fullback, Troy Fleming, and the center, Scott Wells.
You saw that as a career long of 62 yards and a first down at the 10. Here's the handoff. It goes to Cedric Houston, who's got a fractured thumb on his left hand. He is playing with a cast, but he at least is back in action now. He's been out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you know, I made the point that nobody has really stepped up as a marquee tailback like Tennessee's accustomed to having. I think this guy, Cedric Houston, was on his way to that earlier in the year. Then he got a thigh bruise and he was out. Then he broke the thumb, and so the last 6 games or 5 games, he's only had 6 carries, only 29. That was just his 30th carry of the season, so he's really behind in terms of reps.
Deep back in the eye now, and he gets the handoff at left tackle. Good block from Fleming, the fullback, and he's bounced out of bounds at the 2.5-yard line. Dante Robinson gets the tackle, number 32. Opening drives for the Volunteers thus far this year only have scored once. Other times, 3 punts, 2 missed field goals, and a lost fumble. So a chance today to score for only the 2nd time on the first drive of the game. 3rd down.
And the guy you want to keep your eye on right now is the tight end, Jason Witten. He's lined up over here on this side. Casey Clausen's favorite target right now without Kelly Washington.
Here's Clausen rolling out to his right, drills it, caught, touchdown. C.J. Phaeton, a freshman. A 2-yard touchdown, and Tennessee takes the lead.
Nice drive on the road. You get the big run by Jabari Davis, and then you protect the backside, and you roll your quarterback out a little bit. Motion, get your quarterback out of the pocket, and a nice little soft touch pass to C.J. Phaeton, running away from Rashard Faison. There's Witten. They kept him in the block, and he protects the backside of Casey Clausen for the touchdown.
That is the first career touchdown for the redshirt freshman C.J. Phaeton. Only his 5th catch of the year. Alex Wall, the senior, it's blocked. He's been bothered by a pulled quad, and that one goes right into the line.
I think Mo Thompson, number 91, the freshman defensive end, may have got a hand on it, but a very, very low kick, and the 2nd block kick for Alex Walls of the season.
Redshirt freshman, Virginia Beach, Virginia. First career touchdown. The extra point blocked. Actually kicked into the line of scrimmage. And the Gamecocks find themselves trailing by 3. Philip Newman will kick off for the Volunteers. Thez Robinson and Matthew Thomas, wearing number 15, await the kick. This one's short. Thomas moves up, grabs it at the 6. And South Carolina will take over at the 24-yard line. That gives us a moment to check in New York. Here's Tim Brenda.
All right, Vern, a Big 12 championship preview perhaps after a fumble by Chris.
Thank you, Tim. It's 6-3 here, and South Carolina with the ball for the 3rd time. A first down at their own 24.
That first series did South Carolina 2 reverses, and they faked a reverse, all trying to take advantage of the aggressiveness of this Tennessee defense.
Here's the fake handoff, and Jenkins going deep, wants Williamson deep. There's a battle for the ball as Williamson slipped. Good downfield coverage by the Volunteers. It's incomplete at the 31. Let's take another look at that touchdown.
Well, here's Rashard Faison right here. Now, he is the guy that's responsible for coverage on this receiver when he comes across. But what you'll see is Faison has to kind of go around the official. He has to kind of get looped out, and that means he kind of loses position on that inside receiver. You see he's trailing it the whole way, and Clausen able to find him and get him the football.
And
Just a well-designed play, taking advantage of the motion to loosen up the coverage.
On second down, Dacus Turman, number 20, picks up a yard. It's going to be 3rd and long.
We heard Lou Holtz in the locker room talk about taking control at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And right now, Tennessee getting the better of it, I think, a little bit up front. Their defensive front is kind of controlling things other than the big play on the reverse. You take a look at South Carolina. That's their football game. Run the football, throw deep a couple times. They've got a lot of screens and draws in their package. But this is not the kind of situation they want to be in. 3rd down and 10 against the Tennessee defense.
And timeout is going to be called by South Carolina. They had some problems getting players properly aligned. So the time comes with 4 minutes and 22 seconds to go in the first. Volunteers sit. South Carolina trails by 3. They've got a 3rd and 10 at their own 24-yard line. 4 wide receivers set and Jenkins in the spread.
I'm sure what Skip Holtz told him during that timeout, don't force anything here. If you don't have it, let's punt the football.
Jenkins will run, tucks it and comes left. There's the stiff arm. He is caught. A nice open field tackle. Second fine play defensively by Julian Battle.
Julian Battle's a physical corner, but good coverage downfield, and that enabled Julian Battle to just kind of track down Jenkins when he left the pocket. And again, you see the speed of the Tennessee defense, a very difficult defense to run around.
And that's going to bring Tyler Dean on for the second time. Mark Jones, I'm sure a bit nervously, awaits the second punt. He fumbled the last one, muffed it. This one sends Jones back inside the 25. The return begins from the 21-yard line, and he crosses the 30. And Tennessee will take it 1st down and 10. Let's check in once again with Tim Brando in New York.
All right, Vern, Jason Gesser and my.
All right, very sad news for Byron Leftwich with his bid legitimately to claim stake on the Heisman Trophy this year.
I think Tim's right. Jason Gesser is certainly a candidate, as is Carson Palmer, the quarterback at USC right now.
And here's a fake reverse for Tennessee on 1st down, and Jabari Davis runs right into Langston Moore, number 57. Langston Moore, the anchor of this Carolina defense. They open with a 3-3-5 under Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator. Gauze has moved to a down line. 2nd down and 8. Here's Clausen. Looks left all the way, fires it, and it is incomplete.
Philip Fulmer not happy with the call. It was over by the Tennessee sideline, and the ball came out, but it came out awfully late. It was ruled incomplete, but it looked like the receiver had possession before the ball came out. Let's take a look again, and they are changing the call now. There's the catch. He has it, and the ball comes out late. That's a good call. That was a catch all the way by Montrell Jones.
Montrell Jones gets the 1st down for Tennessee up at the 46-yard line. Pretty good job of cooperation with the officials. What do you think? Take a look from this angle.
Hard to tell. I think the ball did come out very late. It didn't bounce off of him as soon as it hit him.
Draw play. Houston, nothing. Lance Lowry, number 48, and Jonathan Martin, number 30, with the tackle for South Carolina. Now let's take a look at the last drive. Here's the opening gambit, a 62-yard gamble. G-A-M-B-O-L. That set up the touchdown, and here it is, C.J. Payton. And Tennessee missed the extra point, but they lead 6-3.
For Tennessee, everything revolves around being able to run the football. I formation, run the football, and then when you crowd the line of scrimmage, that's when they like to throw.
They've got Jason Witten split wide right now. Clausen flips it out of the backfield for Houston. Spin move. Dante Robinson, who is playing almost an all-SEC level this year, makes the tackle.
They've had some problems on the other side. They've rotated guys in. They've moved guys from offense to defense, but this guy has been solid. Dante Robinson out of Athens, Georgia, played at Clark Central High School, and he has had an outstanding season with 4 interceptions on the year.
He was a teammate there of Damian Gary, who is in the hospital having his 3rd surgery for compartment syndrome. An injury that occurred after the game last week in Kentucky, and our best wishes go out to Damian Gary of Georgia. Here's Clausen deep. Boy, he just didn't look solid when he threw that.
Didn't get down on the ball enough. The ball was high. It's tough when you throw the ball high over the middle of the field. Receivers don't necessarily like to go get that. Now he's a little upset, it appears, with Tony Brown, but if I'm Tony Brown, I'm a little upset with Casey Clausen too, because Rashard Faison can hit, and you throw him up there, and he got laid out by Rashard Faison at the end of that play.
Dustin Colquitt, who is a finalist for the Ray Guy Award, is on to punt the ball for Tennessee, having a terrific season, and there's an example of it. This one chases Robinson back, and he bobbles it. It's picked up on one hop by Matthew Thomas.
Well, not a good decision by Robinson to even catch that football. You know, you teach guys, put your heels on the 10. If it goes beyond you or over your head, let it go and hope it bounces into the end zone. He caught that ball at about the 5-yard line. Or didn't catch it. I mean, he muffed it at the 5. And take your chances that that thing is going to bounce and go into the end zone. Don't even try to catch this football. And you see Robinson back inside the 5. And again, it gets back to the guy they're missing, Ryan Brewer, Mr. Dependable as their punt returner, the guy who could catch the football. They've had to switch guys on both kickoff return and punt return, and it hurt them right there.
Ryan Brewer, the senior, missing his first game in 43 games. He had that many consecutive starts until today. Here's Jenkins on the quarterback draw. He gets out into the secondary and across the 20 for a first down. Jabril Wilson finally got him, a 17-yard gain.
Well, this is just the toughness of.
And that's a first down after the 17-yard gain. This time South Carolina with 3 receivers split wide left. Jenkins back. Screen pass. James Atkinson, great job defensively. But then the flag is thrown, and this one's going to go against South Carolina. Here's Ryan Brewer, senior from Troy, Ohio, number 20. Medical staff here had seen in years. First down, the penalty on South Carolina, and here's Andrew Pinnock coming left, spin move, but that puts him right into a double team tackle, and he's down the move led by Keon Whiteside, number 50.
The penalty before this on the screen was against Travell Wharton, the left tackle, who was out there trying to lead on that screen. And again, tough field position for South Carolina.
You seen a better day in recent years?
It's beautiful.
Kind of nice. To C.J. Phaeton, they have a 3-point lead. And South Carolina opens the quarter with 2nd and 16. Jenkins. Screen pass. Left side, caught by Dacus Turman. Skips out of a tackle and is down at the 25-yard line. That's going to bring up a third down now for South Carolina, a Carolina team that is trying to get back to a 5-4 record. In Tennessee, of course, good start to them.
I think it's been a real good start. You know, sometimes when you go on the road, when things are going tough, it's good because you circle the wagons, you get away from all the distractions, all the talk shows and everything, and you really focus on your business for about 36 hours. And I think they've come out very focused today. Other than the fumble on the punt by Mark Jones, I think they've been clearly the more physical team here in the first quarter.
South Carolina now with a 3rd down and 7. There's Jenkins looking back to his right, shakes the tackle, fires it out for Thaz Robinson, who proceeds to drop the ball.
You know, the one thing that I'm seeing better in Corey Jenkins than I saw when we were here several weeks ago for the Georgia game is that he is not so quick to just take off and run now. When he leaves the pocket, he's keeping his eyes downfield, and he's looking for places to throw it instead of automatically running when the first option's not there. That's not his fault. He did what he had to do at the quarterback position.
Tyler Dean on to punt on 4th down, and Mark Jones waits at the 35 of Tennessee. Nice and high for Dean. Jones lets it go, and it takes a sideways bounce. There is a flag back near midfield.
Field position so critical in a game like this. 2 good defenses. You anticipate a low scoring type game, and who can flip the field? Which punt team can flip the field in special teams? And a penalty on a punt return really hurts your cause.
And Jay Vines indicating this will go against the Volunteers. And Philip Fulmer in quest of his 100th career victory today.
Get it back. On the receiving team, 10 yards.
The one thing I really appreciate about Phillip, I mean, I like him a lot, but I really appreciate he has not used the injury to his football team.
Carolina has gone to a 4-down lineman defense. Here's the toss left side. And good pursuit, Rashad Faison at the 25-yard line. And let's check in with Jill Arrington.
Well, Vern, Coach Holtz is known for his wisdom, and on September 2nd was the release of Coach Holtz's 5th book, a motivational one called A Team's Game Plan for Life.
10, they worked for his defense on that play. Here comes the blitz. Good blitz pickup. And Jason Witten with the catch, and that's going to be enough for the first down at the 35-yard line. And Todd, Charlie Strong has gone to a 4-man front.
Yeah, it was something that they talked about maybe doing next year. They lost a couple great cover guys, and so it made it a little tougher playing the 3-man front that they've used the last 2 years so successfully. But they decided during the open week was a good time to make the switch. So they started the game in their normal 3-man front, but ever since then they've been with 4-down linemen, and they think it gets their best players on the field. Plus it gives them a better opportunity to get pressure on the quarterback.
First down on that last pass completion to Jason Witten. A 6-3 game. Here's Clausen quickly left side. Catch is made by Chris Hannon, his 3rd catch of the season, as Clausen spreads it around, and we go to Tim Brandy.
All right, Vern, the Cougars.
All right, Tim, sorry for that news. That doesn't augur well for Brian Leftwich. 2nd down on that last pass play to Chris Hannon. Up the middle it goes. Jabari Davis out to the 46-yard line.
You can see how much better Casey Clausen looks this week than he did last Saturday night against Alabama. And again, I get back to the point of practice time. You know, even with an experienced guy and a guy who's played in a lot of games like Casey Clausen, there's still that matter of being sharp and having that timing with your receivers that you lose if you don't find yourself on the practice field. And Casey had a good full week of practice this week, and it's showing in the first half of this ball game. He looks very sharp, and there's some zip on the football.
Well, they'll stretch the chain. The injury again is in his left shoulder. Caused him to miss one game. Here's the stretch, and it is just short.
Yeah. And ironically, the thing that gives him the most pain, what he told me yesterday during their walkthrough, is actually taking the snap. When he's under center taking a snap, it's that jolt where the ball hits his hands. That's causing the most pain for him right now, more so than throwing or handing off gives him some problems too, but it's that taking the snap when he's under center that really hurts.
Rice leading Tulsa 14-0.
Those feisty Nightbirds at it again.
Oh. 3rd and inches. Fleming and Davis are the backs behind Clausen.
Probably won't see a quarterback sneak here with Casey Clausen.
Just thinking the same thing.
And that would be the normal call here with this short a yardage, but they still do it.
Oh, for crying out loud. Well, move the pile, Scott Wells did, the center, along with Sean Young and Chavis Smith. I know you think that their offensive line hasn't played as well as they should have this year.
Well, and I think the injuries, again, you get back to it. If they've really been hurt at the guard position, they have 5 guards, and 4 of them have been injured or banged up throughout the season. Now, Scott Wells, the center, has had an outstanding season, and the South Carolina coach is really aware of what kind of year he's had. They've been okay at tackle injury-wise, but their guards have really been banged up, and I think that's led them to be a little inconsistent up front.
Anthony Herrera is in at guard now. Here's the draw play. Nice defensive job on Jabari Davis, and he loses a yard as the tackle is made by Sean Smith.
He's in our part of the world.
Yes, it is. 2nd down. Here comes the blitz from South Carolina. Clausen dodges it. Looks for blocking help. He gets it from Olfenhuzel. Then finds Jason Witten, the tight end, and a first down at the 32-yard line.
Great job by Casey Clausen, just buying time. You know, he's not known as a scrambler. In fact, sometimes people, you know, kind of get on him a little bit about his running style, but he does a great job of just eluding the blitz. Gets outside, and you see his eyes are downfield. He doesn't want to run it there. He just wants to find somebody to get the ball to, and Jason Witten is his guy. He eluded Jonathan Martin. Martin was caught looking back at the quarterback, and Jason Witten slipped behind him.
That is a gain of 22 yards and a first down. Tennessee at the 31 now officially of South Carolina. Montrell Jones in motion. They hand it off left side to Cedric Houston. And he gets to the 28-yard line. The tackle made by Sean Smith.
I think one of the real big-time battles in this ball game today is inside with Scott Wells, the center, and Langston Moore, the nose guard. Although he's playing in a 3 technique or a defensive tackle position now, is the key to controlling the South Carolina defense.
Here's the toss. Houston comes left, hit behind the line by Dante. Nope. It's Jermaine Lemon, 36, not 32. And Rashad Faison also part of it. It'll bring up 3rd down.
How do you take care of Langston Moore? You toss the ball away from him and then you cut him. The guard comes down and goes after the legs and you run the ball away from him. And again, this is a little bit new. Langston Moore used to playing right over the nose of the center. A little different position now, although he likes it a little bit better.
Tennessee is 3 of 4 on 3rd down conversions thus far. They need 6 here.
And this is the area where South Carolina has really struggled this season.
Not this time.
That protection, and that's where they've had their problems.
And that loss of 8 takes them out of field goal range. So Dustin Colquitt gets it off the side of his foot. There's a flag that's been thrown on the far side of the field. The punt, very ineffective, out of bounds at the 26. It's good for 4 yards if the play stands.
Sometimes when you have a punter that kicks it as far as Colquitt does, has such a strong leg, those little pooch ones are tough for him. And I think that South Carolina will decline this penalty and take the ball in good position.
Against the kicking team, it's decline, 1st down.
Again, special teams, that's a situation. You got stuffed on 3rd down. You punt the football with the idea you're going to pin them deep, and you don't do it.
But the sack prevented the attempt at the field goal as well. We'll continue after this word from your local
Boy toy.
Boy toys. 1st down and 10. Here's the snap back. Jenkins pumps once. Wants to go deep for Atkinson. Double coverage. And an overthrown ball is intercepted with ease by Rashad Baker. That is his 5th interception of the season.
Well, again, Corey Jenkins is still kind of learning about playing quarterback position. He's going to go out and up. So here's the pump fake. He fakes it. Now he's got to get it up in the air sooner than this because the safety is who comes over and makes the play. The pump fake beat the corner, but Rashad Baker, the safety, was able to get over and make the interception, his 5th of the season. When Corey Jenkins makes that pump fake, he's got to reload quickly and get that ball in the air so the safety can't come over and make the play.
That is also the 10th career interception for Rashad Baker. And the turnover gives Tennessee a 1st down at their own 29-yard line. Backs in the eye, 6'3". William Rebel is the fullback now, number 45. Houston hauled down from behind. Tackle made by Jonathan Martin. Follow top 25 games with real-time scores and stats. Just click on NCAA football at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
Well, the guy that made that tackle, Jonathan Martin's having a great season. He came on a blitz from outside and chased the play down. He's a leading tackler on the team. Had 17 tackles in the loss in Baton Rouge against LSU last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather.
On 2nd down, here's the give left side. Cedric Houston, number 21. Again, Jonathan Martin began his career here as a running back and had kind of a star-crossed first couple of years. Injuries in each of his first 2 seasons prevented him from playing a single down. He's going to pass on a request for a medical red shirt. Said he spent 5 years in Columbia and at the University of South Carolina. He's going to hope he gets a chance to play in the NFL.
And this is his 1st year as a starter, you know, and he's making the most of it. He really has played well. Very aggressive young player, playing strong safety.
That last carry by Houston, good for a 1st down at the 39-yard line.
Played at Richland Northeast High School. I saw they played here against last night against Irmo High School and lost 7-6. Irmo won. Stayed undefeated.
Irmo won?
Yeah, I think so. Read those local high school sports scores.
Well, you never know the nuggets you might find there. Big game coming up in Ohio tonight, I heard. 1st down and 10. It looks like a little bit of a mix-up on the play. But Houston makes something out of it as he comes left to the 46-yard line. Let's get an injury update from Jill Arrington on the sideline. Jill?
Well, those injuries keep piling up for Tennessee. Safety Jabril Wilson, he has a bruised left knee. They're icing it now, and they're going to evaluate him at halftime, see if they can get him back.
All right, thank you, Joe.
Jabril Wilson moved into the starting lineup when they moved Julian Battle from strong safety to corner. So if he can't go, they may have to move Battle back to that strong safety spot.
That would bring Jabari Greer, I assume, in at the cornerback spot. 2nd down and 3 Volunteers. They lead it 6-3. There's the toss and the sweep to the left side, the short side of the field. That should be good for a first down at the 50-yard line. Well, they've lost any number of guys. Kevin Simon and Kevin Burnett out for the season. Constantine Ritzman, so there's 3 defenders. Neal missed 3 games. Washington just don't know when, if he will be back. Cedric Houston missed a game, but he's been hampered. Walls, the place kicker, and Casey Clausen. And I know you talked to Philip Fulmer. His daughter was injured a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, his daughter was injured playing a powder puff football game. He's got 3 daughters, and his youngest daughter was playing in the powder puff football game and got wiped out by her sister.
Here's Clausen across the middle for Witten, and he is wide open at the 30-yard line. At the 27, it's a first down following a 23-yard gain.
Jason Witten, the only guy on this team who's caught a pass in every game, and with Kelly Washington out, he is the go-to guy, and too much room for him to run in the field. That's the free safety, DeAndre Island, who was beaten badly that time by Jason Witten. And the thing about Witten is, as big as he is, he can really run. I mean, he can get down the middle of the field in a hurry, and he made South Carolina pay on that one.
Clausen 7 of 8 for 79 yards. And a first down, Tennessee with a 3-point lead, under 7 to go, first half. Here's the reverse. Leonard Scott comes left, gets a block, and speeds inside the 15, out of bounds at the 11. Jameisha Jackson caught up with him.
Leonard Scott scored on that play against Alabama last week. He's got great speed, and sometimes a little inconsistent catching the football, but they do it the easy way. They just hand it to him and let him use that speed. Got a nice block by Michael Munoz, the left tackle, and then just once he got headed north and south, he showed you that burst that he has.
Scott is a sprinter on the Tennessee track and field team. He gets a rest now, and Clausen and the Volunteers have a first down at the 11. It's Davis is the deep back in the eye. He gets the toss, and they come weak side again.
And this has been Tennessee football. We talked about they haven't been able to play Tennessee football, but this is Tennessee football. I formation, run the football. When they bring people in there, you make some quick throws against man-to-man coverage. They hit their tight end. They've really done a nice job. They've run the ball 20 times, and they've only thrown it 8 times. And look at that rushing yardage so far. Randy Sanders doing a nice job mixing up the plays and getting back to old-style Tennessee football.
Second down, backs in the eye again. Here's Clausen with the change. And Davis tests the middle. Mo Thompson gets him from behind, number 91. And that's going to bring up a third down.
I just want to go back and clear up that story on the injury. It was Allison Fulmer, his youngest daughter, who was playing powder puff football, and her sister Brittany is the one who kind of clipped her, and she had surgery on Monday, and I guess she was a heck of a basketball player too, but is going to miss the basketball season. So you know it's been a tough year for injuries when even your daughter gets hurt. I mean, they've lost all those players. Your kicker gets hurt, and your youngest daughter gets hurt too.
And the oldest daughter, Courtney, is here with the family. She made the trip down from Knoxville. Well, Volunteers are going to have to burn a timeout. They call time with 5:23 to go. They are 5:23 to go after the timeout. A third down coming up now for Tennessee. Cedric Houston is the running back. 2 wide receivers out to the right side. Brown and Jones. They go in the corner, and it is incomplete. Fourth down.
Yeah, they went after the best cover corner in Dante Robinson, and he played it perfectly. He was in great position. He knew exactly where the sideline was and could just use that to help him defend the receiver. So a good stop by South Carolina. Now, remember, on the extra point, Alex Walls didn't get that ball up at all. It was very low. Let's see how he handles this field goal attempt.
He's also had one field goal blocked this season. Remember, we talked about Walls pulling a quad in the warm-ups of the game. This one from 24 yards out, and it is good. So that doubles the Tennessee lead. They get 3 out of this drive. A 24-yard field goal for Alex Walls. Volunteers up 9. Wednesday on CBS. Don't miss the most anticipated live performance in years when Shania Twain opens the Country Music Association Awards, plus Alan Jackson, Martina McBride, George Strait, Brooks and Dunn, and Faith Hill. With the #1 album in the country, Vince Gill will host the CMA Awards live Wednesday here on CBS. Tape job on Casey Clausen. And Philip Newman getting ready to kick off for the Volunteers with a 9-3 lead. Farabee and Thomas are the deep men, and they can't decide who will take it.
They've looked really bad on kickoff return so far. I mean, they have not been good doing that.
There are 117 teams playing Division I football. South Carolina is ranked 110th in kickoff returns. Lou Holtz, if he wins today, will break a current tie that he holds with Woody Hayes for numbers of victory. He's number 8 on the all-time list with 238 wins. Got a chance to go on top of him today, and will no doubt do it sometime this year. Here's a first down and 10. And Pinnock goes left with room, gets by Eddie Moore, and is knocked out of bounds after a 15-yard gain up at the 35-yard line. There's Lou Holtz. Back in 1968, he was reminiscing with us yesterday, Todd.
We were entertained in his office with stories about Woody Hayes.
Now we got the banquet speech. Here's Jenkins out to the 39-yard line. Robert Peace and Keon Whiteside. And one of the things that Lou Holtz does each year is bring a group of his high school classmates from the class of 1954 in East Liverpool, Ohio, down to a game at South Carolina. We met 12 of them yesterday, and they're here in the end zone. He was very interested. Speaking of high school scores, East Liverpool played Marietta in the Division II playoffs last night, and they won it 20-14. Handoff goes to Pinnock. That would be the East Liverpool Potters.
That's correct.
You know that, right?
I played against East Liverpool when I was a senior at North Canton Hoover. Big win for the Potters.
North Canton's got a big game tonight.
Maslin Tigers.
There's Bill Roush, who was best man at Lou and Beth Holtz's wedding, and he heads the group of 12 who is here hoping for a South Carolina victory today. Jenkins dancing right. Watch out from behind. Out of bounds. Nifty run.
Very nifty run. And again, he was looking downfield first.
Defeated AC Flora last night 24-6.
You read the same sports page I did.
I did. Yeah, over coffee this morning. Here's the reverse. Michael Ages dodges a tackle and gets to the 45-yard line. That's a nice piece of work for Ages. Rashad Baker makes the tackle.
Well, the third reverse now that South Carolina has run. They ran a couple early. Is really having a nice year in his senior year. He started this season with only 7 career catches, and so far 18 catches in this his final season.
Second down and 1, under 3 to go before the break. They fake to the fullback and give it off to Thez Robinson, number 6, out of that straight T formation that looks like East Liverpool the night.
You're right. I mean, that's old-fashioned football. T formation, kind of counter action, fake to the fullback, give to the crossing tailback, and a good conversion on second and short. Now, one of the areas that they really miss is Ryan Brooks.
First down at the 41-yard line, a 9-3 game with 2:30 to go. Jenkins will keep. Got about a yard. Now South Carolina since. Time has been called by South Carolina. At the end of the game, we'll be selecting the Army player of the game. Tennessee leading right now 9-3. 2nd down and 9.
You know, the last 2 years, South Carolina has really played Tennessee well. They've lost by a total of 10 points combined because they play the same brand of football. They're a physical football team. And the only thing, they've kind of wilted a little bit in the 4th quarter against Tennessee the last 2 years, but they're starting to get into this game and play at the same physical level that Tennessee is right now.
Pinnock is the short back in the eye. Here's the option play with Jenkins. He's got a trailing back, but he keeps it. Corey Jenkins down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, Nazi defense.
That is a gain of 15, a 1st down at the 26. Here's the option again. The pitch to Kenny Irons with Pinnock in front. And the freshman running back is stopped at the 20-yard line by Julian Battle. Gateway halftime report coming up. Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman back in our New York studios with scores and highlights. All 8 of the undefeated teams in action today.
Halftime.
2nd down from the 20. Jenkins wants a screen, flips it out, bobbled and dropped by Andrew Pinnock. Hands a problem. This is a drop pass, but Pinnock.
This is the area in the game and in the field where you miss Ryan Brewer. You know, 3rd down and 5 on the 20-yard line. You want to keep the drive going. You know he's going to be where you want him to make a play. And somebody else has to step up now for the Gamecocks.
3 receivers out. Here's Jenkins on 3rd down. Drills it across the middle, and it's too high for Andre Gause, who was there at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he had good protection, first of all, to watch the play develop. And then he's going to see Andrew Gause right in the middle of the field, but he's not going to be able to get the ball down. And he's got great protection, and there he is. The ball's just too high. Not able to get it down for his intended receiver, Gause. Zone defense, he goes right into the hole, and he's open, and it would have been a 1st down. But Jenkins a little tough, a little high on the throw.
Daniel Weaver from 37 yards out. Eric Kimry will hold it. Didn't get it. Just outside the left upright. So that 12-play drive comes up nada for South Carolina.
Boy, and nothing takes the wind out of your sails more than that. You move the football, you've been physical, you get down there, you miss on a 3rd down, but you want to get points. And they just pulled it left. And they still trail by 6.
So Weaver unsuccessful from 37 yards away. And now 55 seconds to go before the break. And Tennessee, I'm sure, will try and just head to the locker room with a 6-point lead.
Victory formation. Just take the knee and on the road go in with the good 6-point lead in a hard-fought battle.
Now, big game of the week coming up tonight.
Director Bob Fishman got the shot earlier of Casey Clausen getting his right ankle taped, and he's limping rather noticeably here as the 1st half comes to an end. You can see they put an extra wrap job on him. So I'm sure that'll be something we'll have to keep an eye on here in the 2nd half.
Casey missed 1 game with that badly injured left shoulder. James Banks is the backup, a true freshman out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And Jill is with Philip Fulmer. Jill.
Coach Fulmer, we see him working a little bit on Casey's ankle. Is it okay?
He's okay. Yeah, he's a tough guy.
You told us coming into the game that you wanted to play Tennessee football. You're running the ball well down the field, but how do you get it in the end zone?
We've got to get it in the end zone. Maybe we need to just run it into the end zone. But we're better. We're closer to where we want to be. There'll be an opportunity for us in the 2nd half to win this football game, running the football and making a play in the passing game. There's some plays to be made out there.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jill. They've done fairly well when going into the 3rd quarter with a halftime lead under Philip Fulmer's leadership. Time for us to spend halftime with Tim Brando back in New York. Game being brought to you in HD TV. And in the 2nd quarter, Casey Clausen sacked by Mo Thompson.
And watch his right ankle as he got rolled back, and that's what he was having attended to on the sideline. And when he came out for the last series, he had it pretty heavily wrapped, and now warming up for Tennessee, C.J. Leak and James Banks, the number 2 and number 3 quarterback. We saw both of them against Georgia a few weeks ago. Leak actually started the game, but James Banks played the majority of the football game and did a nice job, particularly as he settled down in the fourth quarter.
And no sign of Casey Clausen after the halftime break on the Tennessee bench. Corey Larkins back to return this kickoff. Joey Bowers sends it deep. It bounces in front of Larkins. He picks it up on one hop at the 5. And then good downfield coverage. Taki Mohammed made the tackle, and just a moment ago Jill Arrington chatted with Lou Holtz.
Coach Holtz, a 12-play drive, no points on the board. That's got to be frustrating. What are you going to have to do to get some points?
Well, we just have to forget who we're playing. I mean, we drop a screen pass that's going to get down inside the 10. We haven't dropped that all week. We drop a third down pass wide open. Well, let's just play our own game, and let's not give them anything. Let's just execute. We don't need a great play. We've lost James Atkinson. We've lost Mike Wagey. So we're hurting a wide receiver a little bit now. We're hurting coming in without Ryan Brewer, but hey, we'll just have to go and just play our game. That's all.
All right, Coach, thank you. Good luck.
Casey Clausen makes his way out of the locker room, and Jill will hustle over to the Tennessee sideline, I'm sure, and we'll have an update shortly. But James Banks, the true freshman out of Indianapolis, Indiana, who is as much a running threat as he is a throwing threat, is in at quarterback.
Yeah, and by this time now, defenses and Charlie Strong, the coordinator, very aware of what James Banks can do. He was 10 of 15 throwing the football against Georgia a few weeks ago, but also, as you mentioned, a very dangerous runner.
And there's the handoff for the second consecutive time to Jabari Davis. Well, obviously the big question now coming into the third quarter, the Casey Clausen, can he go or can he not go?
Well, that'll be interesting to find out. The good news for Tennessee is that they're running the football with some success. That's going to take a pressure off of James Banks if he has to play this second half. So that's the good thing for him. Plus, James Banks, again, he played very well in his last extended action against Georgia.
3rd and 3, Tennessee. And here is Banks rolling to his left with Troy Fleming in front. He gets a block from Fleming. Loose, hit from behind. Big gain, Tennessee to the 45.
This is the dimension that James Banks gives you. This is a called rollout. Now he's looking to throw first, but he knows if it's not there, I've got the ability to do this, to tuck it and to burst and to make a big run for the first down. Now the most important thing for James Banks right now is to protect the football. The one turnover in this ball game that Tennessee had led to the only points that South Carolina has been able to put on the board. And for them in the second half, I think that's their major thing, is protect the football.
Gain of 17 for Banks on that play and a first down at the 45.
Clock ran out on him.
Yep, this will cost him 5. Casey Clausen, junior, Northridge, California. And Jill's got more. Jill?
Well, Vern, it is a right ankle sprain. He will be back in the game. He was late coming out because they were retaping it, but he should be back in the game.
All right, thank you, Jill.
He's a tough guy. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, there is no question about how tough of a competitor he is. I'm sure they x-rayed it to make sure nothing was broken, and once they got that report, able to kind of retape it and go for it. So James Banks in for this series, and he got the big first down a few plays ago.
5-yard penalty, 1st and 15 from the 40. Fleming again, the fullback. Play fake, Banks. Chased by Jonathan Martin's got his big tight end, and Witten can't hang on. DeAndre Island got back, and Lance Lowry might have tipped it.
Bootleg action, and Witten is a big turbo game. He was kind of a backup and special teams guy against LSU 2 weeks ago, but he's back as the starter at linebacker today.
2nd and 15, 9-3, Tennessee with the lead. Well, snaps it back, a designed quarterback run. Banks gets a great block on the corner, but a good defensive recovery by Dante Robinson. There's also a flag down at the 46-yard line.
Well, they blitzed him. I mean, they came after him, and James Banks shows you his quickness to get away from the pressure. That's Taki Muhammad, who blitzed and chased him the whole way. I mean, he figured, if I'm going to run this far, I'm going to get the tackle, and he did get the tackle.
2 weeks ago, as Todd mentioned, 10 of 15 for 168. And Clausen may be ready to come back on the field.
You know, one of the problems that's been for Tennessee this year is penalties. They lead the SEC in penalty yardage, and when you look at what has happened to them compared to their opponents this year, it's unbelievable. I mean, look at that. 60 coming into today and only 33 for their opponents. That's a lot of yardage to give up in the course of football games in these first 7 games.
3 penalties today for 24 yards after that last one. Here's the draw play. Clausen, a fake draw. And Clausen with a safety valve toss to Witten. They get 3 or 4 to the 41-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd and long. Lowry and Jeremiah Garrison. Let's check the stats at halftime.
Well, the thing that stands out to me and where South Carolina has to do something is right there. 14 yards rushing. They've run the ball well, but they've got to find a way to complete some passes. And Troy Williamson, I think, is the guy they've got to get the football to, particularly as Lou told Jill, if Atkinson is out, as is Michael Ages, Troy Williamson, their only real deep threat or big play guy on offense.
Clausen with a wounded wing and a bad right ankle. But he is in at quarterback on 3rd and 13. Fires it deep left side, and it's incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
Nice play by Dante Robinson again. I mean, the receiver was open initially, but that's a long throw for any quarterback, and particularly one that maybe doesn't have everything on the football. You see the receiver tried to come back, and Robinson able to get in there and bust up the play.
And Dustin Colquitt on to punt. Had the one attempted pooch kick that went 9 yards. And then the short one, and Robinson and Thomas are deep. Here's Colquitt. He's had a terrific season this year.
Boomer there, boy.
Yes, it is. Robinson will let it go. That's the kind of season that Colquitt has had.
And you know what? That was what Robinson was supposed to do. See, he made the mistake on that earlier in the game. He caught the ball on the 5. That time he did the right thing. He let it bounce. It just was a perfect bounce for Craig Colquitt.
54-yard punt for Colquitt.
And the 3rd time in 7 South Carolina possessions where they've started from inside their 10. Very few teams this year have been able to drive the ball for long yardage against this Tennessee defense.
Here's the inside reverse. Andre Gause, number 19, gets the toss. And let's get an update on injuries. Here once again is Jill Arrington.
Well, Vern, on the South Carolina receiver situation, Lou said Michael Ages would be out. He has a right shoulder bruise.
2nd down and 2. Doesn't speak well for the condition of the field, huh? 2nd down and 2 from the 13. Pinnock coming left with room on the corner. And a South Carolina 1st down at the 24-yard line. Clock is stopped here. We'll go back to New York and check in with Tim Brandon.
Wow.
Goodness. Yes. Back-to-back for Florida State. Here's Jenkins, drills it, incomplete, down low at the 30-yard line.
You know, I don't know if they're going to mount a major drive here, but I've got to go back. That first play they called was a gutsy call. I mean, Lou Holtz, you think he's old school football, but to call an inside reverse inside your own 5-yard line on 1st down, I mean, that took some guts, and it fooled the Tennessee defense. That got them out away from their own end zone, which even if they have to punt the ball on this drive, they're at least not going to be punting out of their own end zone.
Jenkins will go from the spread on 2nd down and 10. Roll to his right. He will loft it deep, and he's got Ages open. And the pass is caught at the 49-yard line.
What an effort by Michael Ages. You know he's playing in pain.
And South Carolina has now moved out from their own 6 to the midfield stripe. 1st and 10 as we near the 10-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Jenkins gets a block right and cuts it to the 45-yard line. Eddie Moore makes the tackle, number 37. And a flag.
Yeah, a late flag. A little extra pushing and shoving at the end of the play. And I think, again, the most penalized team in the SEC got hit again. Oh, I take it back. It was all after the play was done. It was a dead ball type situation.
What? Skip Holtz right beside his dad, offensive coordinator.
And those are the kind of penalties that Really
Personal
hurt you as a
foul
coach.
against the offense. 15 yards from the end of the run. Second down.
See, he wants to know who's it on, because second and very long, 19 yards to go.
From the 40-yard line as Lou Holtz continues to stare at the officials.
Boy, what a tough penalty. I mean, those are the kind, you come out from your 5-yard line and you move the ball, you hit a big pass, you're out around the 50, you've got momentum, and then just a killer penalty.
Now you almost wonder if it wasn't something that was said.
Might have been.
Although it was unnecessary roughness called. Second down. Corey Jenkins. First year as a starting quarterback for the Gamecocks. Pulls up, dances to his left, and caught and dropped at the 33-yard line. Aubrey Franklin with the tackle this time with help from Jabril Wilson. Well, we've waited a little bit, but it's time now for the
Aflac
trivia question. When was the last time that Tennessee lost 3 SEC games in a row? Ages heads out to the right side. Troy Williamson, bottom of the screen to the left. 3 down, blitz coming. Screen pass behind the intended receiver.
Boy, did you see how fast Tennessee converged on Troy Williamson? I mean, this is a fast defense. They've lost key guys. They've been beat up, but they still have some guys that can flat out run on this defensive football team. And they smelled out that draw and flew to Troy Williamson. John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, says he's never had to plug and mix and match a defense as much as he's had to this year.
Tyler Dean will punt on 4th down. Mark Jones comes up and calls for the fair catch, which is taken at the 31-yard line, a 36-yard punt. And word from the bench now that this costly penalty after the run was called on Watts Sanderson, the right tackle. We don't know what the infraction was. We do know
Chicken Woman. I rode down here on a plane with a guy named Bubba who told me all about Chicken Woman, where she'd be. She does that every week, about every half hour. They stop traffic and she goes out in the street and does that.
I bet they stop traffic. First down. Here's Clausen, quick flip, and it's caught by Jonathan Wade, who was tackled immediately by Dante Robinson. Possession time.
Well, it's right. Omari Hand is pushing with Sanderson, and then there's a headbutt, and then at the end of the play, and the problem is it's right in front of the umpire, Ronnie Jones. Ronnie having a little trouble getting that flag out, but Ronnie's watching it the whole time and calls the late penalty. And again, it's just such a drive killer that time for South Carolina.
Second down, 11, loss of 1 in the last play. 9-3. This is where we stood at the half. Almost halfway through the 3rd quarter. Blitz. Clausen lets it go. Witten has the catch and is out of bounds at the 36-yard line in front of Taki Muhammad, number 14.
How valuable Witten is. He's so athletic that you can flank him out there in a wide receiver position and put him in single coverage against a corner and just throw him little individual routes. His 5th reception of the game. And again, without Kelly Washington, he is the go-to receiver for Casey Clausen, and he's a tight end who's 6'5" and weighs about 270 pounds.
Randy Sanders, the offensive coordinator, who works from the sidelines. 3rd and 4. Volunteers. Scott Wells will snap it. Stunts by the defense. Here's the pass. Nice catch. Just a little behind Jonathan Wade, who makes the grab for the first down at the 50.
Jonathan Wade is a young freshman from Shreveport, Louisiana, played at Evangel Christian High School, and he's a guy who has a chance, according to the Tennessee coaches, to really become a special player. Now he's just getting used to playing wide receiver. He was a running back first in high school and a quarterback, and then he moved to defensive back, and he's just learning how to be a receiver, but he has great skills.
At a time of 10.15 in the 100-meter. That's pretty nifty.
That's a move.
On first down, they fake the reverse. The handoff goes to Cedric Houston, who finds room at left tackle. Michael Munoz is the blocker, and he's down at the 45-yard line.
One of the real problems for South Carolina, they're a physical defense. They run, they get after you, but they have had a real problem this year on third down. We just saw a big third down conversion. Coming into the game, they've been allowing 44% conversion rate, and on 3rd and 5 or less, it was even higher, close to 64%. So far today, Tennessee now 5 of 9 on third down conversions. Take a look at that. Hard to get off the field.
Good penetration on this play by Langston Moore, number 57, and that allowed the pursuit to catch up. Langston Moore, who has endured a couple of tough years. He lost his dad to cancer in December of 2000. His mom, Stephanie Sexton, is watching this game from a hospital in Charleston, South Carolina. We chatted with Langston Moore yesterday about her condition. She's fought cancer and apparently has won that.
Soft-spoken, very articulate young man. Hard to imagine him being a defensive tackle the way he sounded yesterday.
Here's Clausen, and he's got the receiver inside the 40. That should be enough for the first down as Tony Brown makes the catch.
And another third down and 5 or less situation where their opponents converted. Good protection up front. A 4-man rush and not able to get close to Casey Clausen. Watch the protection up front. Good sight lines for Casey Clausen. And he's able to connect with Tony Brown for the first down.
Nearing the 6-minute mark of the third quarter, 9-3. Looks like he hasn't gone home since Halloween.
Yeah.
On first down and 10. Clausen chase, Jonathan Martin. Clausen gets rid of it.
That's going to be a penalty because he was not outside the tackle box. Jonathan Martin on the blitz, and they came after him, and it was a good call to blitz him at that time as they're trying to go bootleg play action, and that takes his eyes off of the defense. And when he turned around, there was Jonathan Martin right in his face and Mo Thompson right behind him. So a good call by Charlie Strong to go after Casey Clausen right there. Obviously, you know he's not going to have the same mobility with the injured ankle. And I would suspect that South Carolina will continue to try to go after Casey Clausen, not only because of the ankle, but he's also still a little bit tender and maybe 1 or 2 bad shots away from being put out of this game because of his left shoulder.
Randy Sanders, in chatting with us earlier in the week, said, we know he's 1 or 2 solid hits away from not playing. 2nd down and 20.
And we talked about the snap. That's the thing that hurts his shoulder the most, that initial jolt.
Clausen looks for the safety valve and throws it a little above and behind Troy Fleming out of the backfield. It'll be 3rd and 20.
Take a look at the snap again. The right hand is the top hand. The left hand is his bottom hand, and it's his left shoulder that hurts. But it's that jolt of catching that football that every time he takes a snap, he feels that twinge of pain in his left shoulder with that little crack in his collarbone.
There's Randy Sanders. He can appreciate that, a former quarterback at Tennessee. 3rd and 20. And Sanders a little agitated. They're going to have to use a timeout. He's not a little agitated.
No, he's a lot agitated.
Time called Tennessee. They are facing a 3rd and back in Columbia, South Carolina. 5:35 to go in the 3rd. Tennessee leading by 6, facing a 3rd and 20 from the 50.
And they blitzed 4 times in this second half, but I would expect them to lay back and play zone and force an underneath throw on this 3rd and 21.
Clausen out of the spread. 4-man rush. He comes right side. And the catch is made at the 34-yard line. That'll be 4 short. Well, Randy Sanders, you saw him just a moment ago. How about a week ago?
Well, he had a lot of things going on. A lot of turnovers. Here he is right here, jumping up and down, moving people around. A lot of exasperation on the part of Randy Sanders last week in the loss to Alabama.
Well, a 4th down and 4. And Tennessee is going to go for it. The ball at the 34-yard line. Too far for the field goal. They eschew the pooch kick, and they will go for the first down from the 34.
Well, that was a heck of a completion on 3rd down.
Here's Clausen. Got it at the 20-yard line. First down, Tennessee, Montrell Jones.
See, the good thing was on 3rd and 21, he didn't try to force it for the first down. He made a nice throw to get most of it back. Now 3rd and 4, single coverage on Dante Robinson, and he got turned. A nice route by Montrell Jones, and Casey Clausen, who has made big throws at the right time against South Carolina in the last couple years, just made 2 in a row.
That was a 4th down play. 3rd down plays have been costly in this game so far for South Carolina and historically. And there's a football. Fleming.
I think South Carolina may have gotten it back. The fumble was by Cedric Houston, who, remember, has a bad thumb.
Well, we'll unstack the bodies and see.
Jonathan Martin is the guy who made the strip. And is that Casey Clausen down there who got the football? No. There's Clausen there.
Jabari Davis.
Let's take a look at the play again. Jonathan Martin is going to come up and make the hit on Houston, who has the bad thumb. He's carrying it in his left hand, which is where his injury is, and the ball is ripped out. And Jabari Davis, who was in, makes the
it was Fagan.
recovery.
Beg your pardon.
Jomo Fagan with the recovery.
84 instead of 34. Jomo Fagan made the recovery. It's 2nd down. Clausen out of the backfield. Flag is down. We're going to have holding Tennessee on this one.
Yeah, there was a tackle takedown on Langston Moore.
Well, I'm struck by the fact they converted the 4th down play here. In the last 2 years, it's been 3rd down conversions, Tennessee, against South Carolina.
Yeah, two years ago, it was a 3rd and 14 play that led to a winning points. Last year, 3rd and 21, and a 30-yard completion by Casey Clausen. They had sacked him 2 plays in a row, and he came back and made the huge 3rd down completion.
In both of those cases, Tennessee won. Now Troy Fleming shaken up on that last play and heading for the Tennessee bench.
And that could be yet another costly injury, because he's a very valuable part of this offense. Reliable in his pass protection as a lead blocker, also a receiver coming out of the backfield.
2nd and 27. Clausen got a man. Tennessee at the 13-yard line as Montrell Jones makes another catch.
Well, that was the same play to the other side that they completed on 4th down, and it was on Dante Robinson again. You see him looking in at the quarterback, and he gets a late break on the slant route by Montrell Jones. And Casey Clausen looking extremely sharp in this series. It starts with protection, but Casey Clausen putting the ball right where he needs to.
2nd down and 2. 3rd and 2. Clausen lets it go. He's got a receiver, and the catch is incomplete. It's not made. It'll be 4th down. Jomo Fagan.
Boy, what a huge play that was. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but you're moving, you've got momentum. Casey Clausen putting the ball right in the right spot, and this is a catchable pass. I mean, it hits Fagan right there. Boy, I'm not so sure that wasn't a catch. What? Wow. I think that was a catch, Vern. I mean, he didn't have it secured real cleanly, but it looked like he had possession.
Scott Newsom will snap it. Alex Walls from the 29-yard line. The kick is up and through. So they salvage 3 to the Volunteers. And they lead by 9. 12-3 with 2:57. Hey, time now for the Fidelity Investments scoring recap. First field goal of the game, Daniel Weaver from 26 yards out. Then the only touchdown that's been scored so far, Clausen to C.J. Payton. Battle of field goals after that. Walls from 24 for Tennessee. And just a moment ago, Alex Walls from 29 to give us a 12-3 margin right now. The University of Tennessee leading South Carolina by 9.
Well, that was a huge break for South Carolina, because not only Do they stay close in this ball game, down only 9 with 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in the third quarter? But Tennessee had it rolling there on that drive, and that sure looked like a catch that got nullified and made Tennessee settle for the 3 points.
Philip Newman will do the kickoff chores for the Volunteers. And we talked at the outset of the season and the balance for these two teams. Tennessee comes in 4-3. If they win, they're 5-3. They go home and get Miami next week. South Carolina 5-3, but beginning a tough stretch. They've still got to face Florida on the road. They get Clemson at home.
And Arkansas.
And the kickoff now from Philip Newman for the Volunteers. Robinson and Thomas are the deep men. And this one will drive Matthew Thomas 8 yards into the end zone.
You know, the one thing when we talked to the Tennessee coaches, they all said we love the character of this team. I mean, they are fighting no matter what's happening, no matter the injuries, they keep fighting. And boy, we've seen that today. This is a Tennessee team that has come out very focused. They haven't scored a lot of points, but they haven't done that all year. I mean, in the SEC games they've played this year, they haven't scored many. As we take a look now at a new quarterback, Dondrell Pinkins. And this kid can flat out throw the football. And I think what Lou Holtz is realizing right now is we've got to make something happen throwing the football. And this kid can flat out throw it. Watching him in practice.
He is a large one, 6'2", 240 pounds. Handoff, Dacus Turman. And the true freshman out to the 27-yard line on first down. Well, time now for the answer to the trivia question. The last time Tennessee lost 3 SEC games in a row. Same year they lost their last encounter to South Carolina. They had 3 in a row against Arkansas, Alabama, and here at Bryce Williams Stadium. Second down. And the handoff left side for the 32-yard line. Well, guess who's back, Todd? With a chapeau.
And dare we say that he's a Gamecock fan today.
You know, he's down there with all of Lou Holtz's friends from East Liverpool. That's a pottery barn down there.
What's that? Birds of a feather stick together?
Yeah, flock together. Yeah.
Of course he'd be a Gamecock fan.
You bet.
Still want to see South Carolina, and again, maybe the reason they've got Pinkins in now, trying to get Troy Williamson involved in the game. He's been their big play guy recently, and he's been silent today.
And looks like Skip Holtz and the Carolina Gamecocks called time. Here's Tim.
All right, Vern, we want to update you on some unbeaten.
All right, Tim, thank you. Rashad Baker shaken up on the last play. Here's Pinkins on first down, going right, one hopping it to his intended receiver, Troy Williamson. Well, tomorrow on the NFL Today, it's a tale of two quarterbacks. The Tommy Maddox story. That is remarkable. Tommy Maddox drafted out of UCLA by the Broncos and Dan Reeves a decade ago. And here he comes. Here's Turman out of the backfield and out to the 44-yard line. That might be enough to move the chains. It appears like it's an 11-yard gain.
With 3,167 yards as a senior, so not too bad.
No, that's not too shabby. On first down, here's the toss. Left side, Kenny Irons. And Irons stacked up for a gain of 1 to the 45-yard line. Dacus Turman was talking about that senior season. He said his low game was 150 yards. But he only carried 4 times. He said he scored on all 4. So, you know, it wasn't a bad night.
Played at Washington County High School in Washington, Georgia. And Kenny Irons, another very talented youngster that they're trying to work more in. He's been battling an ankle injury, but getting some action today.
Second down and 10 from the 45-yard line. Low snap for Pinkins. He picks it up, looks deep, and fires. Good coverage downfield. And the ball is intercepted.
Great play.
Wow. Willie Miles, the senior out of Fort Worth, was there all the way.
Well, great play by a senior and a poor play by a freshman in Troy Williamson, because when he knows he can't get it, he's got to try to turn into a defender and not let Willie Miles make the interception. Miles was not going to get beat deep. and Troy Williamson not able to break that play up. Now, the only good news for South Carolina is because it was a long throw like that, it was almost like a punt.
Willie Miles, who was a redshirt senior from Fort Worth, sat out all of last year with an injury. And now William Rebel, number 45, is in there in front of Gerald Riggs Jr., number 31. And Riggs gets the handoff.
Fumble. Ball's loose. There's a penalty flag down, but the ball did come out.
Gamecocks say they have it.
And a flag on the play as well.
They do if the play stands.
Was that Riggs' first carry in the ballgame?
Yes, it was.
First.
Well, Lou, we have 4 reverses in our game plan.
But they're all blocked. They're not trick 'em reverses. And you can see that time Andrew Pinnock leading the blocking.
Corey Jenkins is back in. T formation on first and goal. Pinnock down to the 3-yard line. And that will be the final play of the third quarter. That's the end of 3 with a score 12-3. And we will return to Williams-Brice Stadium right after this message and this word from your local station. Columbia, South Carolina. Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, Jill Arrington. South Carolina second and goal from the 2, trailing by 9.
And I think they've got to think touchdown here. I don't think they can win this game if they have to settle for a field goal here.
Straight T behind Corey Jenkins. Hands it. There's Robinson. Touchdown, South Carolina. 2 yards out on the first play of the fourth quarter. A 2-point game, 12-10. Corey Larkins is the deep man for Tennessee, number 23. And again, this is a team that leads the country in kickoff returns, and Larkins elects to bring it out from 1.5 yards in. Well, he does get to the 20, but that's going to be another penalty, I believe, against the Volunteers of Tennessee, and now 3 flags more than they were a minute ago.
Yeah, and especially the fact that they got that touchdown. I mean, you've got to take advantage of those field position situations, and they were able.
Penalty of the ball game for the Volunteers. 90 yards away with a 2-point lead on the road.
And Cedric Houston back in at tailback now.
Gets 2. And let's go down to Jill Arrington with some injury updates.
Vern, these Tennessee injuries keep piling up and they can't afford it. Jabari Davis has been taken into the locker room to have his ribs x-rayed. He will be out. Troy Fleming has a hip pointer and he is out. And then on defense, Rashad Baker has re-injured that shoulder. He is doubtful, but they want to get him back in the game. Not good news for Tennessee.
No, it's not, Jill. Wow. Thank you. Well, that might explain Gerald Riggs' position in the backfield. I don't know. Jabari Davis was not available on that first down effort from the 13 at the end of the third quarter.
And Cedric Houston had fumbled earlier in the quarter.
And on second down, Lance Lowry makes the tackle on Cedric Houston. That's right. There had been a Houston fumble. Davis is in the locker room. Gerald Riggs comes in and makes his first carry of the ball game and coughs it up.
We showed you this graphic earlier. Look at now 11 turnovers leading to 57 points. And on the year now in 7 games, now their 8th game, 18 turnovers. And they had that same amount for the entire season last year.
Well, here's a test for the Carolina defense. 3rd and 5 from the 16. Clausen with time fires it out. Caught at the 21-yard line. That should be enough to move the chain.
And again, the incredible thing here is this is your tight end. This is not your wide receiver. This is a tight end, 6'5", 270 pounds, who you flank out like a wide receiver, and look at him with the footwork on the sideline, getting the first down and keeping his feet in bounds. Working on a corner, Matthew Thomas, and Casey Clausen goes to him for the 6th time in the ballgame.
And South Carolina unable to defend a 3rd down again. 7 of 13 for 3rd downs now for Tennessee. Here's the handoff. Left side. It's Cedric Houston into the hands of Mo Thompson, number 91.
Again, the critical thing is when you get into that 3rd and 5 or less, that's where South Carolina has really struggled. Over 64% their opponents have converted. I mean, you can't win that way consistently, and they've done a pretty good job on 1st and 2nd down, but 3rd downs have really been a problem.
2nd and 6 here. 12-10. Backs in the eye. Houston comes left. Out near the 30. Nice effort after the contact was made. 8-yard gain, 1st down, Tennessee. We go back to New York and Tim Brando.
All right, Vernon Todd, we're down to 7 unbeatens. History repeats itself. Carlisle Holiday on the final play. Throws and it's batted down. Ball.
All right, Tim, thank you.
I got a simple explanation for that Notre Dame game.
Hand off left side. And Houston, nice run out to the 37. Yes.
Green jerseys. Why change the uniforms? You know, you're playing great. You're undefeated. You change the uniforms and wear the green, and they go down.
Are you telling me that you are a little superstitious? Just, huh?
Well, no, not really, but just why mess with a good thing, you know?
See number 73 out there playing for the Tennessee Volunteers, Will Offenhuzel, came up to me yesterday during the walkthrough and said, you know, we're 1-4 when you and Todd are doing the games. 2nd down and 4. Big run. My goodness, when they needed Houston as much as at any time in the ball game, he's had 3 really solid runs. Well, I bet they won't be wearing the 1st down from the 50. This is the 19th carry for Cedric Houston in the ball game, and the last 4 have been the best.
Coming into the game, only 29 carries because of his injuries, but this is the guy that they really thought was going to be the next Travis Stevens or the next Travis Henry, the go-to tailback. But so limited by the injuries, but you can see in these last several runs what he's capable of doing. And again, this is Tennessee football. Running behind their offensive line, I formation, eating up clock, and wearing out a defense.
Well, this brings back memories of Travis Stevens and Travis Henry in the last 3 years. And they'll go back to Cedric Houston again, this time good defense. DeAndre Island, number 28, was one of the first there. Mo Thompson also part of it, number 91. Prior to that run, his last 4 carries had been 8 yards, 12 yards, 12 yards, and 11 yards. Second down and 7. Houston gets a rest. They come left. Derek Tinsley. And Tinsley is dropped at the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 11. Today's Home Depot Scholar Athlete is Ryan Brewer of South Carolina. Is Ryan Brewer out with an ankle injury? They think they might get him back next week. And they did not think that a week ago. Here's Tinsley again. Derek Tinsley, who has been used more as a wide receiver than in the backfield, but that's his 2nd consecutive carry. And here's Jill with Ryan Brewer.
Well, your team's certainly missing you out there. How bad do you want to be?
All right, Jill, we'll get back to you. It's 2nd down and 6. Backs in the eye. And here is Tinsley for the 3rd consecutive carry. That'll be short of the 1st down at the 16. Jill.
Well, offensive coordinator Skip Holtz.
Well, next week's our last home game, and I'm be on them.
Ryan told me they took the shoulder pads and his jersey out. They didn't want him suiting up at halftime, so take care of that ankle.
All right, Jill, thank you. 3rd down. Backs in the eye from line formation. Here is Houston spinning and driving and getting the 1st down.
This is just so reminiscent of the last 2 years, Tennessee and South Carolina. In the 4th quarter, getting in the I formation and running the football. And look at that, over 200 yards. Again, coming into the game, 9th in the conference. Very uncharacteristic for Tennessee. Only 129 yards a game rushing. Only 59 last week against Alabama, but now 209 yards today.
Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator, said he feared them getting back to a power football game, and they are doing that tonight. Here's Clausen. Corner blitz. Pass incomplete at the goal line.
That may be one that Dante Robinson sees over and over and over in his head, because that could have completely snuffed out this drive and swung the momentum back to South Carolina. He's had a little trouble with this slant route, but this time he breaks perfectly on it right in front and not able to make the pick. He read it, he broke, he lost his balance a little bit as the ball got to him, but he could have completely turned the momentum of this football game with that play.
2nd down and 10 from just inside the 15. Montrell Jones is split wide right now. Tony Brown is the motion man. Draw play, Cedric Houston, and he bolts inside the 10 down to the 6-yard line. Running with real power on this drive.
Yeah, he really is. And it looks like he's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to think about my thumb. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go and lower my shoulder and keep my legs moving until they get me to the ground. You see him get leverage, get low, run right over Takei Muhammad, and get about 4 more yards after the contact.
And Muhammad is down, injured on the tackle.
Cedric Houston from Clarendon, Arkansas, was highly recruited. Left his home state of Arkansas to go to Tennessee, and again, he was a guy who early in the year they really thought this is going to be our guy, and he had a thigh bruise that knocked him out for a while, and then the broken thumb, and really until today, the last 5 games, he had only had 6 carries, and so he has really gotten it going here today.
And you can see how well Tennessee has played and what they've accomplished when running for more than 200. These are runs from just this drive,
Yeah,
Todd.
just this drive, and you can see how hard he's running the football. He's protecting it. He had a fumble earlier, but he's not worried about that now, and he is really running downhill against this South Carolina defense. For the game now, 22 carries for 89 yards. And again, before today, only 29 carries for the whole season. He has 22 today.
His high for the season was back in game 1 against Wyoming. That the only 100-yard effort. Here's Takei Muhammad being helped over to the sideline as Cedric Houston ran over Muhammad on that last play.
Yeah. Muhammad led with his right shoulder, and just a direct hit on Cedric Houston. Now another huge 3rd down play for both teams.
I formation for Tennessee. They lead by 2. They've got the ball at the 6, and Casey Clausen is changing the play. Revel is the fullback, number 45. Houston is the tailback, and it's Houston who gets the carry and does not make it.
You know, the only thing I didn't like about that with Tennessee was when Casey Clausen was audibling and checking off, his linemen were in their stance a long time. That takes a little bit of their edge of coming up, getting down, and firing off the football. He's checking. Watch, now they're all down. These guys all have their hand on the ground, and Clausen is audibilizing, and they didn't get the push that they've gotten the entire drive on that last play.
Sean Smith, Lance Lowry collaborating for the defensive effort. And here is Alex Walls for his 3rd field goal attempt from inside 30 yards. This one, 22. Timeout called. Tennessee, they had one man who was very late getting off the field. And they've got 1 timeout left.
You can find them in Cooperstown. You can find them almost anywhere.
Jones is split wide right now. Tony Brown is the motion man. Draw play, Cedric Houston, and he bolts inside the 10 down to the 6-yard line. Running with real power on this drive.
Yeah, he really is. And it looks like he's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to think about my thumb. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go and lower my shoulder and keep my legs moving until they get me to the ground. You see him get leverage, get low, run right over Takei Muhammad, and get about 4 more yards after the contact.
And Muhammad is down, injured on the tackle.
Cedric Houston from Clarendon, Arkansas, was highly recruited. Left his home state of Arkansas to go to Tennessee, and again, he was a guy who early in the year they really thought this is going to be our guy, and he had a thigh bruise that knocked him out for a while, and then the broken thumb, and really until today, the last 5 games, he had only had 6 carries, And so he has really gotten it going here today.
And you can see how well Tennessee has played and what they've accomplished when running for more than 200. These are runs from just this drive,
Yeah,
Todd.
just this drive, and you can see how hard he's running the football. He's protecting it. He had a fumble earlier, but he's not worried about that now, and he is really running downhill against this South Carolina defense. For the game now, 22 carries for 89 yards. And again, before today, only 29 carries for the whole season. He has 22 today.
His high for the season was back in game 1 against Wyoming. That the only 100-yard effort. Here's Takeem Muhammad being helped over to the sideline as Cedric Houston ran over Muhammad on that last play.
Yeah. Muhammad led with his right shoulder and just a direct hit on Cedric Houston. Now another huge third down play for both teams.
I formation for Tennessee. They lead by 2. They've got the ball at the 6, and Casey Clausen is changing the play. Revel is the fullback, number 45. Houston is the tailback. And it's Houston who gets the carry and does not make it.
You know, the only thing I didn't like about that with Tennessee was when Casey Clausen was audibling and checking off, his linemen were in their stance a long time. That takes a little bit of their edge of coming up, getting down, and firing off the football. He's checking. Watch, now they're all down. These guys all have their hand on the ground, and Clausen is audibilizing, and they didn't get the push that they've gotten the entire drive on that last play.
Sean Smith, Lance Lowry collaborating for the defensive effort. And here is Alex Walls for his 3rd field goal attempt from inside 30 yards. This one, 22. Timeout called. Tennessee, they had one man who was very late getting off the field. And they've got one timeout left.
You can find them in Cooperstown. You can find them almost anywhere.
One of the more interesting decisions of the season for the Volunteers. They are not going for the field goal. They've sent the offense out. And on 4th and 1 from the 6, the Volunteers, leading by 2, will go for it. Houston is the deep back in the eye. Casey Clausen, bootleg. Clausen points out. He's going to stroll in untouched. He dives for the last yard.
And Jason Witten is who got him to the end zone. Witten was the primary receiver, but Clausen didn't like what that looked like and decided to run. And as soon as Witten saw him tuck the football, he turned into a lead blocker and got him in the end zone. Now remember, this was the 4th down. They wanted to call timeout. They ran the play anyway. Witten's right here. Now he's going to be blocked and then released, but he's covered by Island. And then he lead blocks for Clausen to take it in. I like the call because your defense has played well enough. They're not going to go 95 yards on you.
And Alex Walls hooks the extra point.
One blocked and one hooked. And now
it's a one-score
game.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
Casey Clausen, though, bum right ankle, bruised left wing. Touchdown nonetheless.
Coughing up cards.
And again by Casey Clausen, and we've seen a bunch of that from him. Has been a real leader on this football team, and you can see him right now talking to the defense. Has really atoned for his game last week at Alabama by leading his team today.
Philip Newman kicks it off. Taken by Thomas at the 5, and Matthew Thomas back to the 20, to the 30. And it's Andre Gauze 19 instead of 15. Matthew Thomas. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, I want you to see a couple blocks here. First of all, the left guard, Sean Young, is going to get a huge block. And then, of course, Witten blocks down and then turns into a blocker out here. Watch these two blocks. The guard pulls to lead the way. He gets a cut block. And then Witten with a cut block. And Clausen, bad shoulder and all, gets into the end zone. Well executed. They go for it on 4th down. That's twice now today. They've converted on 4th down against South Carolina. This time for a touchdown.
Andre Gauze is the player who is down, having just returned that kick to the 35-yard line. Go in the ball game. Andre Gause on the South Carolina bench getting medical attention now. And Dondrell Pinkins is in at quarterback for South Carolina. They'll go from their own 35, trailing by 8. Four-man Tennessee rush. Pinkins, screen pass, dropped.
Boy, they've dropped some screen passes today. They've had a couple set up really well, and that's the third time in the ball game that they've dropped a simple screen pass. Well thrown balls. Let's go back to the kickoff return by Goss. You can see at the end of the play, his left knee kind of gets twisted underneath him.
Second down. Here's Pinkins out of the gun. Little pattern underneath, and Michael Ages cannot hang on. That's 2 that should have been caught. Jabril Wilson, number 8, was the closest defender, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Boy, those are 2 costly drops, Vern, because I don't think if they have to give up the football here, I don't know that they can get it back from Tennessee again with time enough. Even though they have 3 timeouts, the way Tennessee's running the football, I don't know if they'll get it back with enough time to do anything. So those 2 drops costly, and now 3rd and 10 critical for Dondrell Pinkins.
5:58 to go. Low snap again. Pinkins picks it up. Dances right, being chased and caught.
They can't get anybody open. I mean, that's the problem. The protection is pretty decent, but the coverage downfield by this Tennessee secondary is too good. I mean, now watch these guys and watch as this play begins. Just watch and see if you can find a red shirt that pops open. They rush 3. They drop 7 or 8, and there's just no red shirts open. I mean, the only guy that's open is an outlet receiver right here.
Now the punt from Tyler Dean. Low, far. That drives Mark Jones back inside the 20. But he gets it out to the 30-yard line and is stopped at the 31. 48-yard punt for Tyler Dean. 12 on the return. Taken care of on the sideline. 1st down and 10. Here's Clausen with the handoff to Houston out to the 33-yard line. And let's check in with Jill Arrington. Jill.
Well, you saw the play. It was that left knee, and Andre Gause is out for the game.
Keep piling up.
Boy, it's just been one of those years.
2nd down. Tennessee. On that last drive, they went 90 yards in 17 plays, and they ran it 15 times. That is old-fashioned Tennessee football. They're looking at a 3rd down now from the 37-yard line. And let's take another look at that bootleg by Casey Clausen for the touchdown.
Yeah, gutsy call. Good blocks by Sean Young, the guard who's going to pull out in front. Good fake. He got Jonathan Martin with that block, and then Island blocked by Witten. And just a gutsy effort by Casey Clausen, who he doesn't run a lot, and he's not real fancy, but he does run bootlegs. Last year against Alabama, then again in a big win over Notre Dame out in South Bend. Crazy legs. But this is a huge 3rd down conversion.
Draw play. Houston coming left. Fights for it and does not get it. He's dropped at the 40-yard line. 3:42 to go. Jameisha Jackson and Mo Thompson collaborate for that one.
They haven't stopped Tennessee very much on 3rd down. 8 of 15 before that play, but that was a big stop because now they'll get the ball back with more time than I thought they'd have, and they have a full complement of 3 timeouts remaining.
It's going to be Dante Robinson back, and Dustin Colquitt will call upon the experience of a terrific season and hope it carries him through this punt. Nine men coming from South Carolina. And here's Colquitt. Nice and high. He boomed it. And Matthew Thomas, it's not Robinson. There's a flag down.
Yeah, he ran into Colquitt. And there is no blocking into a man. Oh, what is holding? It was the personal protector of Tennessee trying to prevent the punt block. And that was the penalty.
On the kicking team. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, 4th down.
South Carolina very fortunate because that was a great kick by Colquitt, but watch the pressure right up the middle. It was not the personal protector Houston who held, but it was rather inside Jason Mitchell, number 35, who was called for the holding. And now South Carolina a chance to get it in much better field position.
That is the 7th penalty.
A gutsy effort by Casey Clausen, who he doesn't run a lot, and he's not real fancy, but he does run bootlegs. Last year against Alabama, then again in a big win over Notre Dame out in South Bend. Crazy legs. But this is a huge 3rd down conversion.
Draw play. Houston coming left. Fights for it and does not get it. He's dropped at the 40-yard line. 3:42 to go. Jameisha Jackson and Mo Thompson collaborate for that one.
They haven't stopped Tennessee very much on 3rd down. 8 of 15 before that play, but that was a big stop because now they'll get the ball back with more time than I thought they'd have, and they have a full complement of 3 timeouts remaining.
It's going to be Dante Robinson back, and Dustin Colquitt will call upon the experience of a terrific season and hope it carries him through this punt. Nine men coming from South Carolina. And here's Colquitt. Nice and high. He boomed it. And Matthew Thomas, it's not Robinson. There's a flag down.
Yeah, he ran into Colquitt. And there is no blocking into a man. Oh, what is holding? It was the personal protector of Tennessee trying to prevent the punt block. And that was the penalty.
On the kicking team, 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, 4th down.
South Carolina very fortunate because that was a great kick by Colquitt, but watch the pressure right up the middle. It was not the personal protector Houston who held, but it was rather inside Jason Mitchell, number 35, who was called for the holding. And now South Carolina a chance to get it in much better field position.
That is the 7th penalty against Tennessee, and Colquitt will do it over.
I'd set up return here this time. Try to get the best field position you can.
Robinson and Thomas are both back, and this one's a bad punt. It bounces at the 30-yard line.
It was a bad punt because the play before was almost blocked, and that time there was a flash in the right side of the screen or the right side of the vision for Dustin Colquitt, and he kind of shanked that punt. It was pressure that got to him a little bit. Now look at this from the outside. The pressure's going to come for South Carolina.
They have it at the 30-yard line. 3 timeouts remaining and 2 minutes and 47 seconds on the clock. Here's the handoff to Andrew Pinnock. Nothing. And while the Gamecocks regather, we check in once again with Tim Brando. On 2nd down, this one completed left side at the 35-yard line. The catch made by James. Nope, now it's ruled incomplete. Atkinson could not hang on.
And for the South Carolina quarterbacks now, Corey Jenkins and Dondrell Pinkins, only 5 completions in 18 attempts. And I mean, that's not very confidence building when you have to go on a game-winning drive with 2 minutes left in the football game. You're only 1 score behind, so a touchdown and a 2-point conversion ties this game up, but they have not completed many passes.
Here's 3rd and 10. Pinkins with a lot of time, and he's got a man open, but he can't get there as Corey Larkins picks it off. Larkins comes left, and he's got the interception at the 23-yard line. It's Jabari Greer instead of Corey Larkins, 33 instead of 23.
Well, Jabari Greer is going to do a great job of just reading this play. He's down here. Now he's going to run with his man, but then the whole time he's going to keep his eyes right on Dondrell Pinkins. Watch Jabari Greer go back in coverage, leave his man, and then follow the football and make the interception right in front of the intended receiver. Pinkins never saw Jabari Greer. He's watching his man cross the field, and the backside corner snuck up on him and got the pick.
And it's Greer, the nickelback, who makes the interception, and that should seal it with 2 minutes and 1 second remaining. 2nd pick of the season for Jabari Greer. Houston to the 20. And time now for our CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Ball control in the fourth quarter. Look at that. Tennessee 11:05. South Carolina 2 minutes. Get complete game stats at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
And I'll tell you another stat that's not going to look good in the South Carolina offensive meeting tomorrow. 45 yards passing. It's tough to win in this league or any league when you only throw for 45 yards.
18-10, a dejected group of South Carolina Gamecocks trailing by 8. Appears they will lose for the 10th consecutive season to the Tennessee Volunteers. 2nd down and 7. And here is Cedric Houston closing in on a 100-yard evening. Got 104 now. Time called, South Carolina. Tennessee leads by 8, 1:49 to go, and time now for the 5-star play of the game presented by Wrangler. 4th down and 1. Here's Bob Kessling of Tennessee Radio with the call.
Formation. Houston, the tailback. They try him. No, they bootleg it. Clausen rolling right. He's going to run it in for a Tennessee touchdown. Casey Clausen rolling right. Kept the ball. Goes in for the score. And Tennessee leads it by a score of 18-10.
And that is where we stand now as Clausen confers with Jonathan Wade, Philip Fulmer, Randy Sanders.
You know, I just go back to what we said at the beginning of the show. The problem for Tennessee this year offensively is they've not been able to play Tennessee football. Line up in the I formation, run it, throw it when they gang up on the running game. Today they were able to go back and play Tennessee football. 238 yards rushing. The offensive line has played outstanding, and Cedric Houston has been the go-to guy.
Clausen on the bootleg gets rid of it, and this catch is made by Ryan Boswell, number 82, and Casey gets up gimpy yet again. He sustained an ankle injury in the second quarter.
Well, another bootleg. Jonathan Martin on the blitz knocks Clausen down, but another huge 3rd down conversion. A good call during that timeout by Randy Sanders. Get the 1st down, continue to eat up the clock, and keep the ball away from South Carolina.
And yet again, Todd, his percentage of completion so outstanding.
He's been sharp today. I mean, much better than he was a week ago. 17 of 23 today, and some real clutch throws when he needed it.
Speaking of clutch, here's Houston. He's stumped on this play, but he's been the difference in this fourth quarter. Time has been called, and the clock stops with 1 minute 11 seconds remaining. 1:11 to go. 18-10. Didn't know the South Carolina win was that big.
When you've lost 2 in a row,
right,
and you got Miami coming down next week, it's a big win for Philip Fulmer and the Tennessee football team. They circled the wagons and they got it done.
South Carolina cannot stop the clock. 2nd down. Here's Houston on his 30th carry of the ball game. There is a flag down on the near side. Coming into this ball game, Cedric Houston had carried 29 times this season. That was his 30th carry tonight. If it stands. It won't. But I bet he gets it again.
There's a real good chance he's going to get it again.
Now they'll unravel this one and walk it off against Tennessee.
Again, talking about Tennessee football, lining up and running the football, throwing when you want to and not because you have to. 76 offensive plays for Tennessee today, 53 of them rushes and 23 passes. And they haven't been able to play like that for a long time. I mean, it's been a tough year for them because they just haven't been able to do what they're most comfortable with doing. But today, we got a good dose of volunteer football again.
That is the 8th penalty against Tennessee. It's 2nd down and 15 from the 16-yard line. And for Lou Holtz, denied the opportunity of winning his 239th game, and he remains winless against Tennessee. And they've still got Florida. That's another big one. He knows they've got to defeat those two teams. And the final 30 seconds unraveling now. In 1994, the Volunteers finished 8-4 after a 3-4 start. They stumbled out of the gate in 2000, started 2-3, ran off 6 in a row, and finished 8-4. There have been comparisons made this year to that. Casey Clausen, a courageous performance today, and Philip Fulmer wins his 100th victory as the head coach of the University of Tennessee. His all-time record now 100 wins and 23 defeats. Big game for Jason Witten in the absence of Kelly Washington.
You know, we put up that graphic comparing the 94 team and the 2000 team. And in both of those underneath, you saw the big-time tailback that both of those teams were able to rely on down the stretch. Maybe Tennessee found their tailback today in Cedric Houston that they can rely on. 30 carries, 108 yards for the youngster out of Arkansas.
Now Cedric Houston, our player of the game, the Army player of the game, as Todd mentioned, career high of 30 carries. That surpasses by 1 the total number of carries the rest of the season. 108 yards and a courageous, gritty performance. And Jill Arrington is with Philip Fulmer.
Coach Fulmer, congratulations, your 100th win, but what does this win mean to this ball club?
It's a great win. I mean, there's a lot of heart obviously shown by our football team. Our staff has stuck together. I mean, it's been a tough couple weeks because we've been our own worst enemies, but to come in this environment and get a win and get it the Tennessee way, running the football, hitting our passes that we needed to. Great defense. They didn't do really anything on our defense that we didn't give them. So just a great relief. We got our work cut out for us down the road. We've got a lot of guys banged up even in this ball game, but this team has a lot to it and a lot of heart. Jill.
Talk to me about the offensive line, how well they played, the resiliency of Casey Clausen to stay out there and do what it takes to win.
I told you at halftime, Casey's a tough guy, you know, and you know, his shoulder's sore and now his ankle's sore, but he is a winner, a big-time winner. And our offensive line really took over the football game. They were able to get that drive at the end of the game. I don't know how long it took, 7 or 8 minutes, and then a huge touchdown, obviously.
All right, Coach, well, congratulations. Enjoy the win as you head into a big game next week. They're excited.
Indeed, they should be, Jill. Casey Clausen, Philip Fulmer. Tennessee wins it. So that'll do it from Columbia, South Carolina. Our final score, 18-10. Jill Arrington, Todd Blackledge, and our entire CBS production crew. Vern Lundquist saying goodnight. We'll see you next week with a dry Philip Fulmer.